Hi, everyone. Welcome back from the break. My name is Cassandra. I'll give this a few minutes for some students to come back. I see Apple is here already. Hello, Apple. Good to see you again. Lovely. So, did you enjoy Professor Kiva's lesson? She talked about marriage, but today I'm going to talk about everything before we get married. So, my topic today is dating and romance. We have some more students coming in. Lovely. Apple says that he enjoyed the last lecture. Awesome to hear. Very good. T. Jenny and Bob, welcome back. I'm happy to see you. T. Jenny, dating and romance, correct. Yes, we will be talking about dating and romance quite soon, very shortly. Song Lim, hello, welcome. Great to see you here. A is back. Great, excellent. Hello, everyone. Are you having a good day? The weather is beautiful outside, isn't it? And the cherry blossoms are blooming. I think that gets us in the mood for romance. So I'm quite excited today to talk to you about love, dating, and romance. Excellent. Okay, we have a few students here. So why don't we begin? This is going to be our plan for today. So I will talk about some useful expressions that you can use to describe forming relationships, breaking those relationships, and everything in between. I'll give some phrasal verbs that are useful for you when speaking about dating and romance, some other common expressions, and as usual, we will end with a quiz. So pay attention, everybody. Oh, we have more people here. T. Jenny says, cabin fever ellipses. Cabin fever, jump, jump, jump. That's a really great expression, and that's an awesome way to sum up the situation right now with the coronavirus. Cabin fever means you're so eager to go outside, you're restless, you're feeling very confined from being indoors for too long. Very good. It is breezy today. Apple says subscribe and like. Apple, wow. You're doing such a good job of promoting our channel. Thank you. Okay, so why don't we start with a few definitions? And I would love to hear from you first. What is dating? I will type the question. And would you please type your answer? So please type your definition. What is dating? Who will have the first response? I'm really curious. What is dating? Actually, dating is really complicated, and we're going to be talking about that later. So if you don't have a firm idea in your mind, don't worry. That's okay. Just type what you think, the first answer that pops into your mind. Oh, we've got some lovely responses already. Haven't gone on a date in ages. That's a really entertaining comment, and cheer up. And by the way, I laughed a lot because I'm not able to pronounce your name. I see it as a bunch of Korean characters. But I'll just, the first one is the D sound. Okay, anyway, just maybe later you can tell me how I can address you. Anyway, clever name and clever comment. Song Lim says a couple meets and spends time together. Yes, lovely answer. Thank you so much. Apple, dating means when you're going on dates, you are actively getting out there and meeting people and spending time with them. Oh, very nice. Yes, I like that definition very much. Well done. Yes, we also have John saying when a girl and a man have a relationship. Sure, that's one combination. So between a man and a woman, or it could be between, man and a man, a woman and a woman, right? Like it could be very, very broad. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later. Yeah. And he says, meeting people, excellent. Meeting someone you love, says T. Jenny. Yes, very nice. Oh, call me Emily. Okay, Emily. Awesome. Thank you. Great name. Okay. Jano says, seeing someone for a relationship or for fun. Oh, yes. That's a very good definition of it as well. Hyunju says, spending time together with one significant other. Lovely. And dating, says Bobby, is going out with the opposite gender who I like the most at the moment. That's right. There's this aspect of, it signifies that you're choosing the best person for you. But sometimes people like to date a wide variety of people. So again, we'll be talking about the intricacies. That means the deeper subjects a little bit later when it comes to dating. So this is a great brainstorm. Jano says, opposite gender always. Well, depends on your culture. We have kind of this traditional idea of dating, of course. But nowadays, especially in Western countries, it could really go any way. Questionable. Okay, well, we could save that for another topic, another discussion. So I think that maybe a good way to sum up dating is it's a stage of a romantic relationship when two people, they're meeting socially to determine if they're the right fit for each other. We often have this expression, the one, finding the one person who is best for you. Now, some people date for fun. We call that dating casually. Maybe they're not so serious about finding a romantic partner that will lead to marriage. Other times, we say that people like to date seriously or to date for marriage. So people who do that, they're dating, they're meeting people, they're forming these relationships in the attempt to find the right person to get married to. Of course, again, more varieties of dating, but we'll touch on that later. And my other question is, what is romance? Who can define romance? What is romance? Here we go. That's the question in the chat room for you. Let me catch up on some comments. Oh, Jano and Bob. Okay. Glad you resolved that. Dating casually, my bad. Okay, so I see. We're just kind of clearing up some stuff from before. Okay, what is romance? What is romance? Jano says love, right? Romance is related to love, certainly. Okay, we have more students trickling in. Hi, Rose. Welcome back. Apple says, romance is the feeling we chase in relationships. It's a powerful force that makes you feel connected to someone in a deeper way. Very nice and very poetic. Well done. Oh, T. Jenny. Romance is usually a short relationship of love between two people. I feel you. That means I understand, but I think the goal is to find a romance that can last for ages, for decades, a love that never dies, a loving feeling. Well done, Song Lim. Yes. Feeling sweet and loved. Well done, Emily. Chino, and eating lots of ice cream. Oh, so I think that we can define romance. Actually, I want to use all of your ideas here to make a definition. So we can describe it maybe as just the feelings of people who are in love and their behavior that could be very maybe caring or affectionate or sweet or loving. And nervous, says Rose. Yes, what a good aspect to bring up. We often describe feeling nervous when we're in love. We have this expression about butterflies, like butterflies in our stomach, because we feel just so maybe on edge, or the situation isn't quite usual. We say, oh, I have butterflies in my stomach. I'm so nervous whenever I meet my partner. Right, Hyunju Kim says, feeling love and being sexually attracted to. Yes, that's another component as well we'll talk about. And A says, romance is just a fantasy that you dream of. There are definitely, imaginative and fantastic elements to romance. Some people believe in it and others don't. Intense romance is hard to keep for a long time. That's right. A lot of psychologists say that there are several stages in a relationship. And after the romantic period, we usually call that romantic limerence. When that dies down, two people form maybe a more comfortable and closer bond. But the romantic stage is so exciting. And it's the subject of so many movies, so many books, so many love songs. Very good. Okay, we have some awesome explanations. Why don't we move on? So, before we start our in depth discussion, I want to show a few phrasal verbs that are quite useful and common when native speakers are talking about romance and relationships, finding a date, breaking off a relationship, and so on. So, why don't we get started? Let's go this way. Give me a moment, please. I hope we can see. Can we see everyone? Looks okay. Please type yes if you can see this screen here. I'm waiting for a yes. I'll give you some time. There might be a little bit of a delay. Thank you. Yes, very good. Okay, so I'm going to describe the first phrasal verb. Hit on. Maybe you've heard it before, or maybe you haven't. It's to show someone that you are attracted to them. Example sentence is, all of my girlfriends, and in that case, we're not meaning like yoja chingu, just my female friends, my friends who are girls. All of my girlfriends were hitting on George. Now, hitting on, it doesn't mean that I'm physically assaulting George. I'm not tapping George. I'm not touching George. Well, maybe I am, but I'm certainly not trying to hurt George. It's quite the opposite. Jano says, those bad girls. Very funny. So, also, apologies to any Georges out there. It was just a random name. I thought it was a very innocent name. So all of my girlfriends were hitting on George. They were showing their attraction toward George very strongly. Oh, and by the way, if you would like to use hitting on in a sample sentence, please go ahead. So while I'm talking, I would love for you to try out this expression, hit on. So please type a sentence, or if you have a question, how do I use hit on? Or if you have an example of hitting on somebody, I would love to see that. Apple says, he hit on me. That's right. I'm sorry that I was hitting on your sister. Oh gosh. This is a very fun subject today, everybody. So hitting on, honestly, I'm not the best person to give advice in this area, but I could say perhaps if the girlfriends were hitting on George, maybe they were complimenting George a lot. Maybe they were trying to sit next to George, and maybe they were even lightly touching George. I wish I had some type of prop. Just a moment. I'm so sorry, but I do have this orange. Bear with me for a second. This can be our George, okay? He's very happy because he's receiving a lot of female attention. Okay, this is George. So all of my girlfriends were hitting on George. George was hit on by so many women because George is so popular and so attractive, like this. Let me see your sample sentences. I am not hitting on you. You are so mistaken. I am just friendly. Okay, yes, you're bringing up a good aspect there. People have a hard time knowing what is hitting on someone and what is just being friendly. Of course, because there's a fine line and everyone has different feelings about that. Bob says, bro, stop hitting on me. I am straight. George is so cute. Thank you. Yeah, George is very cute. I got hit on my heart. Okay, in that case, we'll have some expressions later about our heart, like our heart being broken. We would say that we get hit on by another person. So if George is expressing his attraction to you in a very strong way, you would say, I got hit on by George. Did you hit on someone while working? Interesting question. Right, maybe we shouldn't do that in our office. We'll be talking about that later too, about office relationships. Okay, good job. We'll move on to our second phrasal verb, ask out. And this one is fun to talk about. Ask out is when we ask somebody to go on a date with us, to spend time with us, to get to know us romantically. So, he asked me out, meaning somebody asked me to spend time with them in a romantic way. They want to have a date. So please go ahead and try to use this expression, ask out. You could say that, for instance, my boyfriend asked me out after maybe a few dates. So, okay, there's a little bit of two meanings to this word. It could mean to go on a date, or it could kind of mean to keep going on dates, to become a couple. So, people can use it both ways, but I'm going to just teach this way here to start dating, to go on a date. Apple says, nobody will ask me out now. Oh, I'm so sorry. T. Jenny, okay, I've got yours. Rose, how do you ask a girl out? Excellent question, and we'll talk about that later. DVD says, I wish Hyunbin would ask me out. Perfect usage. And I would say, me too. To be honest, your sister asked me out, says A. So Kwang Sung says, only couple. Well, again, it's a little bit different person to person. Most people think that, sure, when you ask somebody out on a date, you ask them out, you are building towards being a couple, and every situation is different. So somebody could eventually ask someone, oh, will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? That can usually happen a little bit later. So asking out is often the first stages. So you ask someone out to dinner, you ask someone out to the movies, and so on. Hanju says he asked her out, suggesting to go to a movie together. That's right, very good. My husband doesn't ask me out for a romantic dinner anymore. Sure, we can use it like that, Jano, as well, because asking out could be just to invite somebody out to do something. Very good. Okay, well done. Let's move on. Now, these are a little more sad and intense phrasal verbs. So, lead on. This means that you're faking romantic interest in somebody, or you're misleading somebody. You're not being honest. So, I don't know why I used George, but he'll come back here. George really led me on. I thought George liked me. I thought George wanted to go on a date with me, but George led me on. He was just being kind. He was wasting my time. That is called leading somebody on. You don't plan on actually dating them or forming a couple with them. That is to lead someone on, to fake romantic interest. I think George is a bit of a playboy. Okay, let's see some sample sentences, everybody. Have you ever led somebody on? Have you ever been led on? This one is a little bit tricky, but I would love to hear what you have to say. A says, then you can also lead somebody on like George. Okay, perfect. Well done. Great sentence. We often hear a lot of songs, heartbreaking love songs about somebody being led on and no relationship ever coming from it. Okay, so Apple, you're using it in a different way. I want someone to lean on. Lean on is more like lean on my shoulder, right? I will support you. This is lead. Lead. Lean with an N, lead with a D. But that's an awesome expression. I like that as well. So you did a good job. Try lead on. Jano says, why do you keep leading me on? She is just leading him on, says Rose. Very good. T. Jenny, I've been led on a few times before. Oh, fighting. That's life, right? I'm so sorry, Hyunbin. I didn't mean to lead you on. Alohi, alohi ho, leading on Hyunbin. DVD says Hyunbin led me on. Wow, a lot of Hyunbin fans in here today, but I'm okay with it. Perfect sentence. Very good. Hyunju says, his too kind manner led many of his classmates on. Very good. I'm sure we all know a person like that. They're just maybe too friendly and they can mistakenly give somebody false hope. False hope is another thing that's related to being led on. It means there's no chance of a relationship forming. She hurt her mind because her boyfriend led her on her birthday. Yeah, sure. She hurt her mind. You could say that, she was very depressed. She was so sad. She was so heartbroken. Good job. George says, Jano, stop looking at me with those beautiful eyes. You are leading me on. Mm. Very good, everyone. Very good. Okay, we'll move on to something even worse than being led on. It is being cheated on. So I hope we can see. Why don't I move this in? We'll zoom in even more. Okay, this is much better. Cheat on. So that refers to being unfaithful in a relationship. So you are breaking a promise. And that usually means meeting another person, not your significant other. Oh, George is so bad. The sample sentence is, she cheated on her husband with George. So we cheat on somebody with somebody else. So in this sentence, it could be a little bit confusing to know who is doing what. So let's imagine the she is your teacher. I cheated on my husband. My husband is not here. He's away. He's so angry with me because I cheated on my husband with this man. Do we understand? Okay, good comments. I think we're following. So why don't we try cheat on in a sentence? You could say, somebody cheated on me, or, oh, by mistake, I cheated on somebody. This is very, very gossip worthy. So we're not using our own lives as example sentences, as you know, as I know. So just a sample sentence. You won't get in any trouble, right? Nothing is real here. George is obviously not that much of a playboy, I would hope. Bad George, how could you cheat on me for that long? Perfect Apple, great sentence. If you cheat on your spouse, you will be paid. I'm wondering which agency is paying people to cheat on their spouses. Maybe it's more like you will be punished or you will be paid back in the sense of maybe karma. When you do something wrong, eventually maybe something bad might happen to you if you believe in that type of idea. So if you cheat on your spouse, you will be maybe caught, you could say as well. You will be punished. We say what goes around comes around, like that. Okay, Emily says, I caught my boyfriend cheating on me. Okay, perfect sentence. Well done. You will pay for what you do, for sure. Very good. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Oh, Jano, well said. He has such an innocent face. He has a smile on his face, says Bobby. Okay. Oh, you're referring to my friend here. Where is he? I hope I don't smear his lovely face. Someone says, I love to cheat on my girlfriend. Yep, that's a fine sentence. Paid back. Right, Jenny. Very good. He was infamous for cheating on his girlfriend many times. Very good. Oh, Rose is correct. Yes. So today we're talking about romance. However, a lot of these phrasal verbs can be applied to other contexts. And I'm glad Rose brought that up. So it means you cheated on play or cheated on a game. Yes, you can cheat in a game. If we're playing blue marble and I decide to secretly steal some money, I'm cheating in the game. That's right. Anna cheated on her close friend. Therefore, they broke up with each other. Right. Okay, so maybe for Kwang Sung, you could say, I'm assuming you mean that Anna cheated with her close friend. cheated with her close friend, and she had to break up her relationship with someone else. So it gets a little complicated with the ons and the withs. Maybe you could cheat on your friend if you're not in a relationship with them. It gets very confusing. So, Kwang Sung is fixing that sentence. Now I understand. And we have the word frenemy come up. Yes, so in that case, right, if you cheat on your partner with your friend, that's definitely a frenemy, right? It's a friend who is an enemy. Wow. We have a lot of interesting example sentences in here and lots of good vocabulary. Okay, moving on. So, progressively getting worse, break up and split up. So, I'm sure you can guess the meaning already. It just simply is to end, to finish, but we wouldn't say we finished the relationship. It's not that natural. We would say we ended the relationship because, well, there could be a lot of reasons why. Maybe cheating, maybe something else. We could talk about that later. So it's just to end a relationship with someone. Example, the celebrity couple broke up. You can also say the celebrity couple split up. And I don't know well about celebrity couples, but maybe if you know of a celebrity couple, celebrity, as we learned before, means famous people. So a famous couple, for example, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, they split up, they broke up. You can also say other things like, oh no, George broke up with me. So George said bye-bye to me. George split up with me. I'm so sad. I'm crying all day. Let's see some sentences now. Hollywood couples are often broken up. Very good, T. Jenny. Jano says, oh no, I broke up with my wonderful George because he cheated on me with my best friend. Oh, what a saga. We need to write a story or some type of drama about this man, George. DV says, Song Joong-ki and Song Hye-kyo, I hope I said that well, broke up. Oh my. Very good. Apple says, I don't want to break up with you. Great sentence. Ooh, A. This could be like a line from a drama. Please break up with me. Otherwise, I'll sue you. How do I break up with someone I love? Says Rose. Very good. Excellent sentences. I think we understand break up or split up. So we'll move on. Just a few more. So these ones, to make up. We talk about couples making up after they've had some dispute or disagreement. So if the couple fights, if I say, oh, I'm so angry at George, I never want to see you again, and we go our separate ways. If I make up, that means reconcile after a dispute. Reconcile means come back together. Dispute means an argument or some problem. So George and I make up, we come back together again, and we solved our problem. Apple says, why don't you two kiss and make up? Yeah, that's a really common expression, to kiss and make up. So make up, example, we made up. George and I had a fight, but we made up. We are happy again. Jano says, we had a makeup. Okay, yes, that's perfect. We understand. T. Jenny says, you'd better make up soon after an argument. Lovely sentence. Bob says, we make up after every fight. Yes, that's right. And you put a question mark. So if you're asking about it, it's completely up to you, because if you have a fight in your relationship, maybe you never make up. That means maybe you split up or you break up, right? But if we make up, we come together again and we move on. Very good. And finally, our last one for now, to turn down. Now, we can use this in other contexts, but when we are talking about romance, turning down someone means to decline them or reject somebody. So please, let's use this together. Type your own sentence. My dream girl just turned me down. That means maybe the man asked the dream girl, his goddess, the girl that he wants to be with for a date, and she said, I'm so sorry, no thank you. Or she gave him a fake phone number, or any other reason, she's rejecting him. So, using George again, I will turn down George. George wants to have a date with me. I would say, I'm so sorry, I'm too busy. George is turned down. So let's try to use turn down in a sentence. Have you ever turned someone down? What does it feel like to be turned down? That means rejected for a date. Let's see. A says, don't turn me down, please. I beg you. Very good. It is important to make sure that other person is not hurt when you turn them down. T. Jenny, well done. Jano, how can I ever turn you down when you look at me like that, George? Jano, very clever. Thank you. And that was well done. Yes, show you. Rose is saying that she turned down a meeting. I'm assuming that means a date. Meeting in English, well, a lot of native speakers would think a meeting is something is more professional, like a meeting with my boss, something that's a little higher level perhaps than a date, right? But in Korea, we say blind meeting, right? To mean blind date. So I can see how the word meeting can have a different meaning in Korean. So just if we're talking with a native speaker, you could say more naturally, I turned down a date. Or simply, I turned down the person. We can say both. We can refuse the date. We can refuse the entire person. Okay, Alohi says, I felt bad for leading Hyunbin on. So I asked him out, but he turned me down. Very good sentence. Thank you. Apple says, turn down the TV volume. See, there we go. Thank you, Apple. That's an example of turn down being used in another context. So you are correct. Hyunju says, the actress turned the billionaire down. Wow. And I wonder why. Very good. Okay, so let's move on. I think that, well, as you can see from our lively discussion, that dating and romance is so interesting to talk about. So let's begin our discussion. I have a lot of questions for you. My first question is, in your opinion, how do you begin dating? Maybe you can talk about it in the Korean context. So I'll type the question. How do you begin dating? As in, how do you find someone to go on a date with? What are some methods? What are some things that you can do? What can you say? Where can you go? How do you even begin dating? How do you find someone to date? Let's see, everyone. And try, if you can, to use some of these phrasal verbs. If you can, if the situation allows. Jano says, Tinder all the way. You brought up, yes, that we use tools, online tools, smartphone apps, etc. Sure, that is a way to find a date. Okay, you can begin dating by watching a movie with someone. Well done, Rose. Oh, Jano, it's just a joke. But really, some people do use that as a method, right? Because as we said before, dating, relationships, it's so personal. Everyone has their different idea, their different preferences, their different lifestyle, culture, etc. Very good. Anyone else? How do you begin dating? How would I find someone? How would I find someone like George? Do you go on blind dates? Do we use the internet? Do you just simply walk up to somebody on the street and ask them, can I have your phone number? Oh, very good. Yes. DV says, meet people through your friends. Very good. T. Jenny says, dating is a memory too long ago. I understand. So Kwang Sung is asking, what is Tinder? Tinder is an app. So it's an application for your smartphone. It matches single people together to go on a date. Now, everyone has different opinions. Some people think it's okay to meet people through Your phone? Other people are more traditional. So that's why maybe Tinder is could be a little bit controversial to some people because everyone has a different opinion on what's the right way to find somebody. Through my coworkers, that's right, through being introduced, through being connected. Your friend, says DV, can introduce you to people who they think match you. Well done. Yes. Mhm. Go to church? Sure. Of course, any social environment you can find somebody. Hyunju says blind dates, through coworkers. Mhm. A A is wondering how do we really find people to date? Right. Very good. Start working out. So, meeting people at the gym or just building your confidence to meet people in other areas of life. Okay. Tijani, great sentence. Would you like to have coffee with me? I think that's a really natural way to ask somebody for a date. Sure. Well done. Okay, my next question, who asks whom and who pays? So I will type the question here. Who asks whom? That means who is doing the asking? Between George and I, we're going to assume George is a male based on his name. Is it the man's job? Should George ask me or should I ask George? Can the female ask? Who says it first? And who should pay? I think in our relationship, I'm the only person with money. So I guess I would have to pay. Again, what do you think? 50-50? Dutch pay? Oh, there we go, Apple. So you can answer both of the questions or either. I just want to get a discussion going. Who should pay for the dates? Who asks to go on a date first? In my case, usually guys, says Emily. T. Jenny, depends on the situation. That's right. Jano says, always guy treats a girl on the first date. Very traditional. Rose says, my hus, meaning my husband. Right. Sure, very good. Again, different couples have different ideas. DV says, anyone can ask. If you are interested, make the first move. Awesome advice. Wow. You should be a writer. Very good. Another student A says, depends on the situation. Yes, I agree. I think it certainly does depend on the situation. Maybe some people are more traditional. They would like the man to handle that area, to pay, as well as to ask first. Or some people, they think anything is fine, whatever suits the situation. Very good. Jano, I've always paid for the first date, even if I didn't like the guy. Oh, that's so nice of you. Right, right. So, Dutch pay, I'm very curious. Who agrees with Dutch pay? And we also like to say splitting the bill is another word for Dutch pay. So we could say go Dutch. On a date, we should go Dutch, split it 50-50, split the bill. Kwong saying, it depends on the guy's mind. You're right. Yes, yes, it really depends on, each of our own perspectives. Very good. Sorry, I am broke. Good expression. Right. Excellent. Good job, everyone. Okay, and our last question before I give you some more vocabulary. What do you know about dating in Western society? So I will post the question here. I mean, we don't want to stereotype because lots of people in Western society have different backgrounds, values, beliefs, and so on. But we can talk about generalities, and I'm just curious about what you think, perhaps from your own experiences in a Western country or from what you've seen in Hollywood movies. But beware that Hollywood isn't always showing you what really goes on between people, right? It's entertaining. So I'm just curious, what do you know about dating in Western societies? And don't worry, I won't be offended by what you say. I'm just really curious. What do you know about dating in other countries? So, do you think, is it more casual? Is there less involvement from parents? More blind dating? Less blind dating? Do people live together before marriage? Wow, lots and lots of could be controversial topics, but let's try it out. Why not? Apple says, first dates are often casual. Meeting at a bar or coffee shop are some of the most popular options and get more formal by adding dinner and events into the mix. Yes, very good, Apple. That is correct. I would agree with you. And I would also agree with DV Diary. Yes, there's lots more freedom. There's no set way, there's no exact way to go on a date to meet somebody. It can really happen in a variety of ways. Jano, oh, I've seen both sides, but generally I find the Western guys don't like the girls who are little too caring, waiting by the phone, asking to wear certain clothes, hairstyles. Oh, very good. That's an interesting perspective. Sure, I would agree with you. Again, I don't know much about the male perspective, right? I'm not George, but I can see that maybe I think that Western girls do care, but we're certainly not really waiting by our phone, texting a lot, etc. But some girls will. That's the thing. As DV Diary said, there's so much freedom, right? Everyone can be how they are, and you're going to meet different personalities. But Jano, I would agree with you. I think that, generally it could be a little more that way. DVD says, yeah, I see people casually date more often. Very good. Hyunju says, I've heard people in the West usually don't have a blind date. Sure, I think that's a great thing to bring up because I think that the blind dating, or what do we say in Korea, like soul getting, that's maybe more common here. I think that maybe at least in Canada, where I'm from, excuse me, like we want to kind of know the person first. We want to make sure maybe there's something in common, or we've met them a little bit beforehand before we choose to go on a date with them. So meeting a stranger could be a little bit intimidating, meaning kind of scary, but again, people still do it. Right. T. Jenny says, love from classical literature is usually fatal and intense. People dream of it. Yes, wow, we could have a whole lesson on that topic about, romanticism, romantic ideals. Jano says they like women who are far more confident, focused on their work, and so much more. Korean guys tend to like the girls who are a little more accommodating. Okay, very good opinion. Dating is often low commitment, says Apple in the States. In America, it's more common, especially in one's early 20s, to be dating just for fun than it is to be dating with the intention to get married ASAP, as soon as possible. Wow, very good. Wow, there's so much to say, but I have more words to share with you. So I really want to keep this conversation going. It's really interesting, but we'll have to save it for another time because I want to teach just a few more things that can help us. These aren't necessarily phrasal verbs, just a few expressions I thought could be interesting or useful to you. And I think we've already talked about it, but I want to talk about how we ask somebody out. We said that before, but we can also go out with someone. I want to make sure that people understand this expression as well because we use it so much. Going out with someone to spend time romantically with somebody. So when you ask somebody out, you're asking for the first time. Then you could also say that you are going out with someone. So an example here is he asked me out. We went out once. So we had one date. You might hear a native speaker say, instead of we had a single date, we went out once. Or we could talk about the process of getting to know each other and going on dates as simply going out with. So we have been going out for 6 months. We could hear a native speaker ask their friend, how long have you been dating your boyfriend? Or how long have you been going out with your boyfriend? So let's see. Oh, and I think everyone is still continuing the conversation a bit. That's awesome. You can keep going. So just remember, we could also say to go out with someone. It's like saying you're dating someone. This one is really fun to talk about. We haven't brought it up before, but a crush. A crush is a temporary infatuation with someone. I'm going to fix my board. Just a moment. Oh, here we are. Okay. So, temporary means not long lasting. Infatuation means you are thinking about that person a lot. You think that the person is great. So, if I am infatuated with George, when I see George, oh, I feel a little bit hot and sweaty. George makes me feel nervous. We talked before about butterflies in your stomach, right? So, crushes are usually short term. They don't really last that long. So it's like a a short feeling that you get for another person. You're attracted to them perhaps. So why don't we try to use it in a sentence, everyone? Crush on. Max has a crush on Sally. You could say that I have a crush on someone. I have a crush on George. Ooh, okay, wow. I would love to catch up on these comments later about dating in the West. We're going to look now for crush on. Right. Apple says, what do you do when you find out someone has a crush on you? Very good question. T. Jenny says, I had a huge crush on a movie star. Right. Maybe we could use Hyunbin again as an example to have a crush on him or Song Joong-ki, someone like that. Right. So you can have a crush on someone. Can you have a crush on somebody you're already dating? Perhaps. But I think that most people use crush on, again, it's just that temporary feeling of attraction towards someone else. So you could say, oh, I have a crush on my husband, but I think it's more of that you love your husband, right? A says, don't crush on me. I don't like you. Very good. DVD says, I have a crush on George. Yes, George is so popular with the ladies. Very good. Hyunju, I couldn't focus on anything after I crushed on Anne, or after, I had a crush on Anne. Very good. I have a crush on my English teacher. Just kidding. Good sample sentence, right? Yeah, perfect, everyone. You're using it so naturally. Okay. Rose says, I feel that the doctor has a crush on me. Very good. Okay, the next one. We might have used this word before, to be affectionate. So we can maybe share some examples of what you believe being affectionate is. We can describe it in general as expressing fondness, expressing that you like somebody. Some sample sentences using the word affectionate or affection would be, the couple was showing too much affection on the train. So we like to refer to that as PDA. Maybe you've heard of it before. I'll type it. Public displays of affection. Maybe the couple was holding hands. Maybe the couple was cuddling. Something even stronger. Maybe they were kissing. We call that, being affectionate. But if you're being too affectionate in public, maybe it can make people a little bit uncomfortable. So public display of affection. That is PDA. That's a slang we use a lot. Or another way we can use affectionate, my husband is very affectionate. Let's see some ways that we can use affectionate. They may be affectionate, but they do not love, says Apple. Okay, good job. Please be affectionate, says T. Jenny. Very good. Anyone else? Have you ever seen this situation? People being too affectionate in public? You can share that story with us. As we said, that's called PDA. A says, if you really love me, show me affection every day. Great sample sentence. Good job. Anyone else? Okay, because of our time running out, I'll just keep going. This one is fun. Flirt. Maybe you've used this before. It's a noun and a verb. So it's when you're showing somebody sort of non-serious romantic interest in them, often in a friendly way. So this is a little bit different from hitting on someone. Hitting on, it's very, very strong. But if you're flirting, it's more friendly, and we like to say harmless. It could just be too friendly with somebody. So we could use flirt as a noun in this sentence. Excuse me. The waitress is such a flirt. She is flirting with everybody, with all of her customers. Or, again, bringing up George, the ladies were flirting. That's the verb. The ladies were flirting with George. And it's hard, everyone, to give a definition, an exact definition of flirting, because people have their own idea of what is flirting. People think maybe smiling a lot, laughing a lot at somebody's jokes, for instance, that could be flirting. Some people think, oh, that's just friendly. Some people think that complimenting somebody, saying, oh, hey, George, I like let's imagine he's wearing a tie. I like your tie, right? Is that flirting? Everyone has a different idea of it, friendly versus flirting. But it's just a way to make people feel good sometimes. Again, it's non-serious. Let's try to use this in a sentence. Apple says, once a flirt, always a flirt. Bob says, how can you tell that a person is flirting with me or just being friendly? That's a great question. And I don't think we have a great answer for it, right? It depends on everyone's situation. Bob says, is returning a phone call a sign of flirting? Up to the situation. I'm not a flirt, don't get me wrong. Very good. Alohi says, after Hyunbin turned me down, he started flirting with Doris. Who is this Doris? He used to flirt with pretty girls in the club. Very good. A blind eye to love doesn't notice a flirt. Wow, T. Jenny, that's very poetic. Good job. Stevie says, Hyunbin led me on with all his flirting. I believe she is not a flirt. Don't flirt with me when you're drunk. Oh, very good, very good. Okay, real quick, everyone, a few more before we get to our final discussion. This one. To be out of somebody's league. You may hear this a lot in American movies or in love songs. It means that someone is maybe too good for you to date, or you think that someone is better than you, so you would have no chance of actually dating them. The princess was out of George's league. That means that George wants to date the princess, but he can't because the princess is, maybe socially speaking, higher than George. She's a princess. George is just a silly orange, right? So in this case, the princess is or was, in our example here, out of George's league. So let's try this one. Have you ever thought that someone was out of your league? Or you could say that maybe a celebrity is out of your league. Or you could say that somebody isn't out of your league. That means it's okay, you can date them. It's a little bit tricky, so let's try it out. By the way, I think that I'm out of George's league. I really won't date George. I'm sorry. Like this. So it's related to rejecting someone. Good job, Emily. Excellent. The last man I dated was totally out of my league. Very good. Lee Min Ho is out of my league, crying face. Very good. You are out of my league. Yeah, you could say that to somebody. Would you dine out with a person only if you think that person is in your league? Yeah, that's right. So people could say that they date somebody maybe who's in their league. Very good. Okay. And final one. When we're talking about romance, we can also talk about deal breakers. Deal breakers are things or maybe some qualities that you do not want in a person or in a relationship. So, in a sentence, we could say, oh, drinking too much. That refers to drinking alcohol or soju. Let's say, drinking too much soju is a real deal breaker for me. That means I wouldn't date somebody, I wouldn't make a deal to date somebody who likes to drink alcohol, who likes to drink soju. Other deal breakers, maybe a girl who's always playing with her phone all of the time on a date. You could say, oh, that was such a deal breaker. The fact that she was using her phone the whole date really turned me off. I didn't like that. So, using the phone can be a deal breaker. What's another deal breaker for you? Or can you use deal breaker in a sentence? Let's try. What is a deal breaker? Oh, here we go. A girl who smokes is a real deal breaker. A flirt is a real deal breaker. Well done. Smokers are deal breakers for me. Very good. Bye bye. Walking away. Very good. All pretty good deal breakers. Yes, all of them are pretty good deal breakers. We are sure you'll agree. Very good. Okay, so wow, as I said, time really flies, everyone. So why don't we finish, excuse me, with a little bit more. Our final question today here. What topics do you think are acceptable to discuss on a first date? So we talked about going out with someone for the first time, being asked out, and going on your first date. What can people talk about on their first date? What are some things that we should talk about? What are good ideas? Or you could even tell me unacceptable things, some bad ideas. I'll give you a second. What topics do you think are acceptable, are good to discuss, to talk about on a first date? So we'll finish up with that question. Then we'll have a short quiz before we end our lesson today. I have a few more messages coming in. Alohi says, being rude to others is a real deal breaker for me. Yes, very good sentence. T Jenny, one of the worst diet deal breakers is a late night meal. Good job, T Jenny. So, again, a deal breaker isn't necessarily about love. A deal breaker can refer to other things as well. Very good. So, now we'll talk about topics for a first date. Places you have traveled or where you want to travel. Very good. What's on your bucket list? Hobby and work. Eating with their mouths open is unacceptable on a first date. Very good. And I'll also tie in the question, where can you go on a first date? Or what kinds of things can you do on a first date? So I would like to know some first date tips. What to talk about, what not to talk about. Where should you go? Where shouldn't you go? Where can you go for a good first date? Or what can you talk about? Not income. Right. Don't ask your date how much money they make. Did you have any nicknames growing up? It's kind of a playful one. What's the best meal you've ever had? Going to a yummy restaurant? A matcha? Very good. Menu. Anyone else? Yummy food is always good, right? Maybe park, museum, concert. Right now, with the cherry blossoms, the bokgol, it's a really good idea to get outside. Coffee shop by the river, someplace romantic, very good. Anyone else? Topics you can talk about or somewhere you should go? I heard my Korean friend saying, don't talk about your military service on a first date. I think that's just a joke, though, but I'm not really sure. But maybe just avoiding something that could be sad or controversial or related to politics, or your past relationship, right? Don't talk about your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend on a first date. Um, Okay, so we have some more answers coming in. Hobbies, current events. Thank you, DVD. Very good. Uh, Park or school. Okay, sure, school. Maybe like outside of the school. Excellent. Okay, very good. Yeah, restaurant, cafe. Mm-hmm. Tiramisu cafe. Uh-huh, very good. Okay, everyone. Sorry to cut our conversation short, but we should finish now with our quiz. So, my first question for you, if you've been listening along the whole time, is this. So, please be the first student to type the answer correctly. It's quiz time, everyone. So, what do we call a temporary infatuation with another person? I'll put it here. What do you call a temporary infatuation with another person? We just talked about this word. Let's see. What do you call that? Give you a second. Crush, T. Jenny. Well done. Good job. Yes. Okay. And the next question is this. What do you call someone who is too good for you? What is an expression that means that someone is too good for you? We just talked about that as well. Okay, everyone. Yes, I see your answers coming in for the first question. Crush, crush. Well done. Excellent. Now, the next one is someone who is too good for you. Emily says, out of league. Very good. DVD diary, out of your league. Very good. Yes, correct. And this one, we've already done it before. Just. Let's use this word in a sentence. Who can use the expression break up perfectly in a sentence? So you can modify it. You could say, someone broke up with me, or like this, but I want to see break up used in a sentence. Let's go, everyone. Our final question. Remember at the beginning of our lesson, we talked about breaking up. Oh, A says, don't break up with me. Please, I beg you. Very good. That's natural. Thank you so much. Everyone, as always, time flies. I really enjoyed our discussion today. Thank you so much. I think this is a really awesome topic. There's so much to talk about, so I really wish we could keep going. But if you have anything else you'd like to say, please leave it in the comments. Also, for our prize today, I guess you'd win George, although I might eat him later. I think that, what else do I have? Okay, let's go with this. This is a little romantic. Some chocolate, everyone. So if you're one of the winners, I will try to get you some chocolate. I will give this chocolate to you when we can finally meet at a university event when the coronavirus ends. So good job, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. It was a lot of fun. And as I said before, your English is great. You're doing so well. And the sentences that you all provided were so natural and well done. So thank you so much. This was so much fun, everyone. It's time to go. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. Bye.